Welcome back, everybody, to the LCS Challengers League playoffs. It is time for our Rally Cry halftime show after Cloud9 Challengers made very, very quick work out of CLG Faith in that first game. Beatdad, I know I asked you at the beginning, we were looking for some proactivity, some decision-making out of CLG Faith. They didn't get to make a ton of decisions because they just kept getting killed over and over again without getting anything back.
I will give them credit in the early minutes. They were trying. Making decisions, they were trying to make plays. It just didn't work, to be fair. Like, you're playing number one, like, this is Cloud9 we're talking about, right? So this is the outcome we already expected, but I did like that CLG were at least trying stuff. Literally all we want at this point. Because this is the kind of stuff you hopefully grow from. And if they end up going to that promotion relegation tournament, maybe this experience will help them.
I think overall, not too much other than maybe a little bit in the early game. Aaron and Sketch got maybe a little bit too aggressive, and it seemed like the bot lane snowballed from there after that. But we don't necessarily have to talk about that game too much because it went by pretty quickly. So it's time instead for the Rally Cry halftime show. I've got a little segment prepared for you two to participate in, and it is titled, This Is Your Moment. Now, this is the NACL playoffs. So, and for this week on the show, we have specified that this is kind of a focus on the anime tournament arc in a way.
Yeah.
Lot of really high flashy stuff that we saw in that intro. And at every anime tournament, before a game, there's always like the pre-game hype speech from one of the coaches of a team, or maybe a mentor in a way. And CLG Faith right now, Magical Beatdown, they need, I think, a little bit of motivation. So what we're going to do is we're going to have each of us do about a 1 minute, 2 minute motivational speech to try and help CLG Faith with coming back in this series, because it is a best of 3. They can still come back, they can still win potentially. So that's our plan here. Now I do have a couple of stipulations as we will transition my screen over here. We have a wheel set up as well. So what we're going to do is for each person, we are going to spin a wheel, given each either a bit of a scenario that happens with the coach at the time. For example, if a squirrel would crawl down your shirt halfway through the speech, you have to react and act like that happened. And we also have the word wheel, where you have to pick where there's one word that you have to incorporate at some point throughout the speech. Does that make sense?
I love it. Okay. I love this. This is great. This is great.
Beautiful. I can go first to alleviate some of the pressure.
No, I can totally go first.
No. We can do this. We can do this.
I ain't no coward.
Magical, you want to go first?
Sure, why not?
Okay. I'm gonna go over to the wheel. So we can start with the word, and we're gonna spin and see which word or phrase, as you can see here, with some of the assorted animal noises. I know you'd like that one.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping it would be.
Now.
Let's see. What'd I get?
Here we go. Lobster.
All right, lobster.
So what I did is I just kind of selected a bunch of random words. We're gonna go over to your situation, your scenario now as well.
The lobster. I'm gonna write that down.
Just one time. Just gotta use it one time. Oh, it's the squirrel.
Oh, squirrel.
Okay, Magical. You're trying to motivate CLG Faith. You have to use the word lobster. And halfway through your speech, a squirrel's gonna crawl down your shirt. The floor is all yours. How does CLG Faith win this game?
I'm so glad I didn't.
All right, CLG Faith. This is how you win this game. You're playing to the meta that your opponents want you to play. You gotta do your own thing. Just feel free. Your best parts are when you're looking for these early plays. You just gotta be strong like a rock lobster. Just nothing can touch you. Nothing can move you in this fight. Oh my God. Jeez, okay, but you gotta just make sure that you're playing strong as a team too. I want to see, I want to see more people like NXI play around bot lane. It was hard for them to do anything when they were just losing out to the bot lane. You got the flash and cleanse off them early. You gotta just make sure you're abusing that more often. I got it out. You're abusing that more often.
I don't know.
I don't know about you, Graves, but I'm motivated.
I'm super motivated. If I'm CLG Faith, I am motivated as heck right now. Okay. Beatdown, you want to give it a go?
Let's give it a go, Graves.
Okay. Let's pull this up. I got the wheel here. We're gonna start with the word. You don't have to use lobster now. So I took that one out of the situation. We could try something else. Here we are.
Oh!
What?
So any animal, one time, at some point. It can be
All right.
literally anything. I know
It's
this
a
was
assorted animal noise.
Okay, no, it's good, it's good, it's good. No. You don't make the rules magical. I like this stipulation.
This is so-
okay.
All right,
At least one. If you want to do more, it's bonus points, of course. But
What do you get?
so this is you're like you're the old-fashioned master.
Man, this is crazy. Oh my god.
You're really feeling the animal noises as some of your last words.
All right. Do I have a plan?
Okay.
Okay.
I need you to stall for 30 seconds.
All right. I'm
Not
gonna
even.
stall for
We
30
can stall.
seconds.
Match-
Have you ever
match-
seen my banana duck?
Banana duck? Does that hold bananas? Or is it's just
banana?
Oh my gosh.
It's
Wow.
a duck.
Okay, I always associate ducks with grapes because of the bit that we did earlier. I didn't know that there was like another fruit associated.
Okay, you don't have to stall. I'm good.
All right,
Okay,
there we go.
Beatdown. Here we go. The floor is all yours. Animal noises. You're maybe the last time you ever get to talk to your team before CLG Fate take the
That's
rift
right.
again.
Oh, he's gonna be on his deathbed. Oh, I see.
That's right. Good man, Magical. All right, how do I sound? Can you hear me?
You sound great.
Okay, great. CLG, you gotta listen to me. This is your moment. You don't understand. People think you are not a team to be serious about. But you guys, you have nothing to lose. Think about that. Think about how powerful that makes you. No one taking you seriously? Think of what you could do when you get that first win. That's what I want you to focus on. The past, what you guys did, it doesn't matter. What will you do now? That's the real question. Biggest thing, my final bit of advice, you guys have to channel your inner Jenkins. Show him you got that dog in you. Oh.
That was emotional. I'm crying, man. Oh my god, the awoo that just like fades away at the end is so good. I don't know. I would feel motivated as well if that was the last words I heard from Coach Beatdown. I mean that's all I asked for. I mean, we have a little bit of time. I could give it a go if you want.
It's your turn.
Your turn.
Here we are. Okay, we're gonna start over here. We're gonna spin. Okay.
Oh, I was really hoping he was moist.
So was I.
Moist would have been hard. Okay, and we gotta. Here's our scenario as well. Oh wait, I forgot to get rid of this one. Wait. We're gonna.
Yeah,
Just do it
We're
again.
gonna do another one.
Run
We're
it
gonna
back.
do
Run
another
it
one.
back.
Do it again. Oh.
Nothing saved. Wait.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. No, it's nothing. Give us
Okay.
your speech. Give us your speech. That's how the game works, man.
Okay, you know, actually-
you signed up for
This
this
is-
game, Alex. You can't complain now.
I think this is actually a good way to close it out because maybe this is
Maybe it's a sign.
maybe this is like a sign. Maybe this is the real speech that people need.
Okay.
No, the fact is they don't need nothing. They don't need the speech. They're already motivated.
Oh, so I
They know
just
what
don't have to
they're
do it at
gonna
all.
Oh yeah.
So you're
just say
good.
just say doomed and then here you go.
Okay, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Okay, you're gonna do it? Alright,
So when I said nothing, it meant like you just get to do like your full
like a
thing
normal
without any
speech.
situation
Oh, okay.
situation
I
in
see.
there. Yeah. So
Okay, good luck.
Oh, here we go. Gentlemen, I can see the situation, and I know that it might look doomed for some of you. You know, we didn't get a kill, didn't get a tower. We got one dragon, but you know, that's all in the past. We've only won one game, but it only takes two to move on. It only takes two to survive, and you know, two is only one more than one. And I see moments out of each and every single one of you. Rajani, the solo kill that you had against Fake God the last time we played. Why can't we do that again? NXI, all of the incredible times that we've seen you jungle, both on this stage and in the LCS. The aggressive play is going to come through now, and we know it. Town, Town, you're new. You got some new experience under your belt, and this is the time to really put all of that to the test. And Aaron, I know you're, kind of a meme lord sometimes, but when you're serious, things go crazy. Your aggressiveness is going to take us to that next level. And Sketch, I mean, you were an 80s carry main one time. You know how it feels. You know how to support Aaron. You know what it's like when, when you're playing 80 carry, the situation is just so doomed. You try to move 1 inch and the Rengar just one-shots you. But this time, you got a stopwatch. This is our last chance, our last hope. And it won't be doomed. We're going to win. Thank you.
That's a perfect way to end it and get us into champion select. I loved it.
Thank you so much, Grapes. That was great, actually. Magical, I've been telling myself to throw away this couch for so long because I don't use it. And now I'm never getting rid of it. Ever.
Just in case this ever happens again.
You never know. What if this exact circumstance happens again? I need to keep this couch for the rest of my life. When I move, it has to come with me.
All right, well, that's fair.
I'm tied to it now.
I mean, we have the exact same scenario happening so far in the Champion Select for our second game of this best of 3 between the number 1 and number 16 seed teams in playoffs. As every band so far, exactly the same across the board. No deviation.
Yeah, it's not really going to be a big surprise. The thing I'm taking notice of is CLG Faith choosing to be on red side again after that loss. So what their counter pick is going to be, what kind of draft are they going to go for? Because even though things started off pretty well for them in that early laning phase, they didn't have as much agency to get to the late game as you'd hope with a scaling comp like that. And it's tough because when you fall behind on a comp like that, falling a little bit behind, cool, we're chilling. But falling way behind like they did, it's just so impossible.
Well, they decided to still go for the scaling, but Jinx did get some buffs, so she's even stronger at the moment. So it is some adaptation, but the big thing that kind of stands out to me, the reason why I wanted to see some deviation from what we saw last time in Champions Select for CLG Faith was how good Lost was on Xayah. How powerful that tool was, especially how it was really unexpected for Sketch and Aaron with how much damage it provided early on. They just weren't ready for that fully, but they still want to make sure they have something that's going to scale, that's going to do well in that Jinx. And then they have NXI possibly on the Rumble, but it is still a flex.
Yeah, I think Ornn Rumble is honestly fine, just because of the you get a lot of scaling with that pick.
Yeah, that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem.
No, not at all. And you get a lot of ability to team fight, because if you're fighting around the Baron Pit, Dragon Pit, in these tight chokes and things like that, you have 2 very powerful ultimates that will allow you to, give you a big edge in these team fights. I'd be interested to see, with the exception of the Jinx, if we just get like a run back, because so far everything else is the same.
Right, and I kind of feel like that's the one problem I'm having with
Annie ban.
Or CLG Faith. That's going to be the adaptation that we see. Taking away that Annie that was really difficult for Town to do much against, but that means either Victor or Talia is going to be left open for Diplex. The Victor doesn't have as much priority, I think, when Annie is off the table. Not as likely to see that, but Talia, and that can rotate around the map pretty well. It's really quick on the pull to try to see where they can make plays elsewhere, something Diplex can utilize and has utilized really well with Tomio. So I kind of would expect to see that as the final ban, still have that taken off the table.
Right, and the big thing for me is what's Town going to be running in the mid lane. They banned the Jax.
Okay.
Makes me wonder if we're going to be seeing Rumble top, but...
Okay, hear me out.
Okay,
I want to see the meta, like your own defined meta for CLG Faith. Okay. What is Town well known for?
Man, I was getting to that. I was getting to that.
Yes.
He is more of that melee player. We've seen him since joining this team pivot to a lot of mages. Plays, he's had a couple of Victor games, but I was wondering, I wanted to see a melee pick come through. We know he's big on the Irelia. They're saving it for last pick. I do like the Renekton, because now Bejani has this ability to be aggressive in the top side, can open up a lot more things for CLG Faith to be able to do. And what's Town going to do? Silas
Akali.
would be a fan. Akali. Oh, Akali would actually work pretty well here too.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It just depends on what Diplex plays here. What they draft here for Diplex is what decides whether or not Talon's going to play an Akali game for us. Something that he's very well known for.
I mean, LeBlanc, it is a little tough, especially now with the changes she got on this patch. Her Q giving... Actually, I'm going to talk about it if it happens. Yeah. So that one is there. We could get the Assassin matchup. And I mean, Town, this is the moment. Like, you guys are on the precipice of getting 2-0'd. We know him to be a melee specialist. Pull something out.
Pull something out. You're do or die. I mean, you're not eliminated from the tournament, right? You're still going to be a part of this, but... Not gonna get the classic for Town, instead going for Azir.
Right, and this one's interesting because Azir's got a lot of nerfs. The idea behind the changes... Oh, he got a lot of changes. He got nerfs to his early game specifically.
Right.
And the fact that LeBlanc's early game got improved a lot makes this an even scarier matchup for Town. You should still be able to get some semblance. You should be able to fight for push and everything like that, but, you know, lower base health, you're very vulnerable to someone like Diplex who's going to be looking to solo kill you pretty consistently. So this early game for CLG Faith is going to be really important. Top is easily a lane you can be playing for. I really hope to see an aggressive play towards that top side by Johnny setting up a dive, something along those lines, because if you can turn that lead into something like a Rift Herald, that's how you get the game, the early game going in your favor.
But we still got to worry about the spot lane. We saw last game what happens just in the straight-up 2v2 between Lost Angel and Aaron Sketch, that just one misstep against them can completely define the rest of the game. And when your backs are up against the wall, if you want to remain in the upper bracket, it's double elimination. So CLG Faith will not be eliminated from the tournament if they lose this best-of-3 series to Cloud9 Challengers. But they would then be put in do-or-die best-of-3s for the rest of the tournament.
30 seconds until minions...
That's right, and of course, if they get far enough, best-of-5s, but that's a while away. I'm focusing more on today, that's right, CLG Faith Magical. How to... Things go like they did in Game 1, get sent to that lower bracket. It's sent to, basically, the more dangerous part of tournament brackets like this. It's tough after what we saw in that last game. You do need to see the switch up there for CLG Faith. They did change the draft a little bit as well.
Hey, Grapes getting some love.
My goat, Speedy Grapes. Yes, sir, Hawks. Tell him. He's good. It's been fun having him so far. I really like that game because you know what?
That was fun. I like that twist. I like the twist on it.
We do a couple like pep talks, you know. So at first I was like, oh, okay, we'll do a pep talk again. But then he added the wheel.
I love the wheel. The wheel adaptation was
excellent.
Pure genius.
Yes. And if you want to be part of the conversation, if you want to tell Grapes he's amazing, because he is and you should, use the hashtag NACL on Twitter right now. I'm waiting.
We'll have to wait.
You're not tweeting it.
I mean, I've been banned, remember?
Oh, not you. I just mean, you know, you, the audience.
You were saying you a lot, so I thought you were directing it at me.
You're good. I'll say you. I'll say Alex, you know?
That's fair. Okay, so here, looking at mid lane, Diplex getting the upper hand against Town. Kind of expected. You talked about those buffs that we didn't really get to really hone in too much on.
I wanted to wait for it to be locked, you know?
Right, so that's why I knew you did, so I was going to give you this opportunity to talk about it.
Right, and the change is the Q does, the Sigil of Malice does more damage to minions when either part of the Q pops onto a minion. You actually get 30% of the cooldown back, and you get 100% of the mana back, really increasing the pushing power of a champ like LeBlanc. And I mean, the trading power too, because you can push and trade, getting the cooldown back faster, getting the mana back. It really just frees up your mana bar. And I mean, look at what Town's been going through so far, trying to push. And look at Diplex. He's almost full mana. It feels great.
Tomio's gonna show up mid, hitting the flash. The chain's already connected onto Town. The dive easily set up for Diplex to get first blood.
Yeah, really nicely done. Tomio immediately rushing to that bottom brush on transition to make a play like that happen. And this LeBlanc is going to be so difficult to deal with.
Yes.
Because you have this sort of front to back here for CLG Faith. LeBlanc kind of cheats all that. So her getting a lead means she's that much more dangerous to Town, to Aaron, and to NXI, to anybody here.
Which is just a nice play, you know.
It's just simple stuff.
Very simple, very easy. No, nothing fancy, but still effective. Getting that first blood over to Diplex in this mid lane. You talked about the power LeBlanc has early on against Azir, especially with how they kind of
Hit his early game.
They hit his early game to help out his mid to late game even more so. But that means that he's so much more susceptible now to any problems like this mid lane already going awry.
Right. And that's just the start of, well, what we've seen from Cloud9. You give them an inch, they take a mile. That was never more true than in game 1 of the series here. You still have plenty of scaling tools on CLG Fade's side. By no means is this the end of the world. But LeBlanc, I mean, especially with Ignite, that kind of champion where once the ball gets rolling, it's really hard to stop.
Well, the problem is when your lanes are starting to fall apart completely, like this bot lane where Lost nearly got another kill onto a bot lane situation at level 3. If it hadn't been for the Blade Caller's just been slightly off, probably would have been another early kill for Lost.
Right, I mean, Aaron staying feels a little safer because, one, you have the pots, have the biscuits, and of course, your jungler and Xi Lost. I mean, there's a clear moment here where if Zeyzal and Lost get too aggressive, NXI can help save the day. But really, it's for the cover. Wave getting in, super important here. And Town getting that ward, also super important because you see Diplex has that lane freeze coming through here. Means this Azir, even with the E, having no flash makes you super vulnerable.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Cloud9's LOL Twitter account, tweeting out about Lost, calling him, the best marksman. This guy, he has impressed me a lot because this is a guy who was on a couple of bottom-ranked teams previously, hadn't gotten to put up the best showings. We saw initially when he first came over from Oceania that he had that power. This was someone that a lot of people talked about initially, but then just the last couple of years, it's kind of petered out. So how he's performing here in the LCS Challengers League it's nice. I love seeing players that might have had some difficulties in the LCS, such as Fake God, also on this team.
Yeah.
Then stepping up here in the Challengers League to show that they are here to compete still.
Right, I mean, players on TSM, a lot of experienced players. Fake God?
I would be surprised if either of them were... Oh no, Tomio's here, so Bajani...
No longer surprised.
He tried to make the play happen. He should have just backed off. That's what I was expecting. Because he went to look for something further, he died for it.
Right, and I mean, more to that conversation where, Lost and Zeyzal have definitely been the star bot lane in this league. If we talk about #1 AD carry support duo, the only other duo in that conversation was Tomo and Diamond. Of course, Tomo moving up to the LCS, it's not really a conversation anymore. I mean, he's been looking good. Lost, as well, another player who's looking to make that jump up. And like you said, him and Fake God being players who are looking for that opportunity to get back in the LCS, especially after being there quite recently.
Yeah. Having been there recently, not having the best performances during their time, where they got a lot of criticism, having shown up in massive strides here in the LCS Challengers League. And now, Diplex getting the pull on to Town, who's barely alive, thinking out of the Ignite, should survive. But even with 2 other members of CLG Faith showing up, Diplex unmoved from this mid lane.
I love that Diplex just watched them walk up too. Didn't have to flash, didn't have to jump back with his react. Just walked away. He's like, yeah, you guys can't hurt me. It's fine. And it just shows the confidence that he has, and it's just the fact that he keeps pressuring Town out of lane. We saw it in that Annie matchup against the Tristana. We're seeing it again here, where he's on the LeBlanc. It's just been control across the map here for Cloud9.
And continuing that in the spot lane as well, as they possibly were threatening a dive, just forcing off, proxying the wave a little bit against CLG Faith's spot lane, even getting a plate for their worries.
Right, I mean, you can see it. Aaron knows this is the scaling game. You see it, he has the call halfway
I've seen this one before. No, I've seen this one before. This is looking dangerous for Sketch. So he does flash and get the heal out of there in time. Well, NXI farmed up just in time. Get level 6. That is going to be the equalizer. Getting a little bit of damage in the slow onto Lost, so they can try to get a little harassed. But that's going to be a plate caller again. 2v3. You cannot stop Lost and Zeyzal.
Great stuff from this bot lane. Now Bajani forced the flash because NXI showed up and it gave that information for Tomio to move towards the top side. It's a success all across the board for Cloud9 challengers. And okay, I thought maybe we were going to see something, but no rocket. Exactly. Probably no zap either. And we're going to see the replay. Realistically, like no level 6 on Sketch. And it didn't really matter because as soon as Lost is 6, he feels really safe about making these plays, even with NXI showing up with that equalizer. And at the end of the day, you have so many feathers coming through here. The damage is just ridiculous. And it's even harder because, I mean, Lost still had Flash and Cleanse to play with. He really just wasn't in any danger.
Though that rocket definitely did get scary. Got him very low.
Not even close.
Not even close, baby.
Not even close.
You know what? I respect that. Because right now, 3 kills. Over to C9C, very, very similar to what we saw in the previous game. And there are a few teams in LCS that should look into getting Lost and Zazel for next split. You know, with their consistent performances, hard to argue against that.
Yeah, they've just been styling this entire split, so it is kind of crazy. I'm just wondering who's going to be giving them that shot to move back up to the next level here. And it just doesn't... It's just the same stuff we're seeing in this game too. How much pressure they're applying here. They almost got a second turret plate. They didn't get the first dragon, but like Cloud9 doesn't even care about that.
Flash in from Tomio. Poor Town. He thought he could just step up, look for a little bit of a ward there, and he's like, nope, just immediately eviscerated.
And again, it's just another successful early game for Cloud9. They have just been, Tomio especially, has just been all over the map. Hasn't shown his face very much on the bot side. It's because Lost and Zazel have just been locking it down. Leaves him free to pressure mid and top. And it's just culminated into now a almost 4,000 gold lead here at the 10-minute mark.
With Chalet being popped mid lane, getting plates gifted over to both Tomio and Diplex to share amongst themselves. Look at that gold discrepancy between Diplex and Town. We're just over the 10-minute mark beat.
Yeah, it is scary. Now it's Town who's been receiving a lot of the pressure. I mean, before, the lead in game 1 was between Lost and Aaron, really, and Diplex catching up later, but they're kind of reversing it. At least now for CLG Faith, you have this Jinx who's actually slightly ahead. This is a big win con towards that late game. You get the 2-item mark, you get towards the IE, and you are going to do some incredible damage. CLG Faith just need to stop the bleeding till they get to that point.
That's the hard thing. When you have a composition that wants to scale a bit more.
Wants to hang back.
Right. And trying to stop bleeding when you don't really have power here at the mid game, comparatively to that of Cloud9 challengers right now. Already the Black Cleaver completed by Tomio. Waiting for that Trinity Force out of Fake God so that Bajani can't even step up to him. Besides, they don't even need that. They can just dive Bajani. He had dominance, but he was never able to pop it because he was CC'd the whole time.
Yeah, just really good stuff. Clean from Cloud9's bottom lane. Now they just get more turret plates. And you see the rotation, which in itself I like from CLG. Getting Aaron alone time with these turret plates, it ends up being, because you're all inning on this Jinx, it ends up being, it's hard to say worth, but it's something.
They have, right?
Nothing.
I respect this. I do respect this from CLG Faith. Your one play that you can still work on is getting more gold funneled into Jinx. Get her up to that first item spike, that mythic. Try to make sure that you're constantly peeling for her, that LeBlanc, Tomio, they can't get on top of her at any point in the game.
At least with Aaron, he managed to get some plates into his pocket. He's been keeping pace, actually slightly ahead of Lost. So again, it's just that 2-item mark. He even has the call that he's about to finish, which is a big deal. The problem, though, is mid. Tomio, I mean, all this pressure, mid and bot, means this bot side jungle is so difficult for NXI to navigate. They don't know where anybody is. Sure, Tomio just showed. I mean, there's so much kill threat on this bottom side.
Yeah, Bajani, 1v1 against Lost. Blade Caller, able to get a little bit of poke on Bajani. Bajani, without the flash, didn't want to commit fully. Not exactly sure where the rest of Cloud9 were. You can see that on the minimap, Tomio was on his path down towards bot lane to defend his ADC.
Realistically, as soon as that happened, he wasn't going to be able to, nothing was going to happen there. So Nicely played from Lost. Now he has the Gale Force. It's going to be even harder to make plays like that onto him. So much movement, so much safety. Is so tough. Now, what do we got here? I am currently keeping, protecting, and defending the Faith right now with all my heart. They're just holding out their strats for the last game. Never let them know your next move. You know what? I respect that.
Well, you got to get to a last game, because right now, this could be the last game, at least in this series against Cloud9 Challengers. If they don't start making these plays soon or stopping the bleeding from the mid-jungle duo of Cloud9 Challengers. There's another plate, well, actually not another plate, another turret. Taking this time its first turret over to Diplex, while bot lane will easily be toppled by Lost.
So this is the thing I'm concerned about for CLG Faith. Like, we talk about how it's good that Aaron's getting gold, they rotate him topside, and it's been able to give him some breathing room to farm it out, but Diplex is a problem. No Annie, but the LeBlanc is also someone to be very afraid of.
I feel like it's even worse with the LeBlanc.
To be honest, I mean, we could argue semantics on that one, though the point is very difficult, because she can just jump over walls. You're already struggling with vision control on your side of the map, so going for these neutral objectives, Diplex, yeah, it can just jump over walls and, well, destroy you. Because with that Ludens, with that Hextech Alternator, one combo will actually just 100 to 0 Aaron.
Yeah, as Aaron has completed the Kraken Slayer, but doesn't provide any safety against Diplex. It's really going to be on Sketch defending this ADC, making sure that Aaron is as safe as humanly possible at every stage of the game, because right now, 15 minutes into the game, you've gotten only one neutral objective for yourself, no kills yet again in this game. When you fight up against Cloud9, you got, if you can keep the Jinx alive,
yeah,
that is your whole team.
Yeah, the thing that's tough is you're lacking a little bit on CC. Oh, wow. So when Diplex jumps on top, like, really the big thing you're trying to play for is the flay, the death sentence. If Bajani is sitting on top of Aaron and can get the stun off too, that would be awesome. Not really how you want to be playing this champion in team fights though, but this is the situation CLG find themselves in. It's true, if you defend Diplex, or rather, if you defend from Diplex, you have a decent chance in these team fights.
Well, then you also have to factor in Tomio. Tomio shows up into the top lane with Diplex. You know, we've talked about Cloud9 Challengers and how this team, usually when they win, it's through their lanes, all three lanes winning. But Tomio is also someone who, because of that case, has a lot of free time on the map and how he wants to play. We're seeing in this game, it really has been off the back of him, helping out a lot of these plays. Sure, there's the first kill Diplex would, oh, not kill, but the first play that he was able to focus out town early on that allowed Tomio to show up later. But Tomio is always in the right place, right time, and always reads how NXI is trying to path in this game, so that this Rumble has been not a non-factor the entire time.
Really, the saving grace in that regard is NXI has been farming pretty consistently. I mean, he's ahead. Thing is, Tomio's got the kills. Yeah, he's ahead in CS is what I mean. And once that mythic comes through, NXI will be doing a good bit of damage. It's another thing you can kind of lean towards. The problem still is this LeBlanc. Like, as long as you can take care of your AD carry, that's really the whole thing you're looking to do here. And we talked about Sketch being that player new to the support role, but has been scrimming on it, has been practicing, and believes that he can succeed. I mean, this would be a pretty great game.
Man, look at that play on a Bajani. He was able to get the dominance off this time around, tries to dive back in on a Lost, but they just don't have any saving grace to keep Bajani alive.
Right, they almost got something. Oh, taps to you. Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead in 2 plays, right in a row from Cloud9, pulling the trigger instantaneously. I mean, that's rough for CLG Faith, a team that had to stop any bleeding, make sure that nothing essentially happened for another 20 minutes into this game. Well, for gold in the coffers, Cloud9 Challengers.
And look at Diplex. Almost 4,000 ahead of town. More than an entire item. This has been brutal. I mean, Cloud9, they played this game super well. Tomio, like you said, is facilitated. Pretty much every lane he's had some kind of impact. And it's culminated to this. 18 minutes, ginormous lead. We've seen this movie before, Magical. We know how it ends.
We've seen this one too, as Down dives himself away from Diplex. Respecting that this LeBlanc anytime shows up just could do something like that. I'm already at half health.
Yeah. I mean, and that Mimic is almost on cooldown. He could just do it again.
I do like this play, though. They're looking for the play on the solo lane on a Fake God. Wasn't able to go Mega in time. Puts themselves on the board for the first time this series.
Yeah. I mean, that's big. It would have been nice if it went to Aaron, but overall, getting something is huge. Making plays to your Jinx to get some gold, get her some alone time on the side is really important too. And you're going to trade probably your whole mid-tier 2 turret for it, but you need to do something.
Okay, wait, this could actually work out for CLG Faith. They've got a tight corridor. Zazel, gonna be the target, flashing away with the battle dance as well. Man, I can't believe he survived there. The rocket body blocked by Tomio as well.
I was gonna say unless, but they managed to defend their turret, which actually is pretty huge. Like, you don't get Zazel, but you force them away from your turret, you get that play on top side, and you actually keep things nice and slow for CLG Faith. It's a pretty good play. And the fact that they're just moving Aaron around the map, keeping him basically with a Secret Service the whole time is something we were talking about, and we need to keep seeing from CLG Faith this game.
As long as Aaron's alive, and you just make sure that everyone is staying incredibly safe, there is hope for CLG Faith, but you gotta drag this game out for quite some time. I kind of was mentioning that before. This is where it's difficult for some of these provisional teams, especially going up against a Challengers team like Cloud9 Challengers, who have these veterans who understand macro so emphatically. And you can see right there, the town, he can't even show up underneath turret. The Ziplex will dive him every single time he's anywhere nearby.
Yeah, and with stuff, you don't get the top tier 2, but you got the mid tier 2 that they have been tenderizing this whole time. Ooh,
that would have probably actually
that would have been a fat shutdown.
Another saving grace for Cloud9, for CLG Faith, because that's extra gold for Aaron, the one person you need to continue to funnel everything into.
Yeah, I will say that second item has come through for Aaron. It is the Phantom Dancer and not the Infinity Edge. So, I mean, that's really the big spike you're stalling for here. Is Jinx at 3 items will be incredibly powerful for Aaron here. And the fact that nothing's really happened in these few minutes, and the fact that, he needed to know.
Yeah, Sketch tries to make the play backwards with the equalizer as well, but look at Diplex on top of Aaron, the chain connect, and they've got the flank, and there goes the carry for CLG Faith. Everything else from here is just pittance for Cloud9 Challengers. They can clean up because they know they've already gotten the treasure trove away from CLG Faith with a clean ace.
5-0, and Cloud9 will get their prize in the Baron. They continue to snowball. We have another early big objective taken by this team, and it's just looking doom and gloom for the side of CLG Faith. This Baron will be the tool Cloud9 used to end this series.
Sketch, he thought he was safe too. He was
you know what
to spot out.
He needs to walk closer so that he can get that vision from the Lantern, because he didn't throw it far enough. And that's brutal, because he needed to know if they were on the Baron. And that's just, feels bad.
It does, and then without Sketch, it's an easy game for Diplex to look for Aaron. Bajani wasn't there either. He TP'd a little bit too late.
Yeah, that's true as well. And realistically, like, even low health, as he is, lost is 2 fed. And as soon as you lose your Jinx, you lose any hope at a team fight for CLG Faith, excuse me.
That's why we were building up that whole time. Keeping Aaron alive. That is your one tool that you can still utilize. Get the game to continue to scale, but now 13K in the hole, 22.5 minutes in. Baron buff on top of Cloud9 Challengers. Best of 3 on the line as well. All Cloud9 need to do, play this one cautiously, safely, correctly, and they will take the series 2-0 and move on in the upper bracket.
They have everything they need to do it, Magical. You can see it. They're pressuring this mid-tier.
And look at that target selection onto Aaron as well from Tomio. keeps everyone focused onto him. Even with a nice effort to buy out of town, he'll still die, and they still pick up the kills. Nobody's dead on Cloud9 yet. Okay, well, looking at Fake God, that's going to be the rocket that gets a kill for Aaron. Bajani in the middle of 4 members, finally whittled down to the double kill Diplex with Cloud9. Sure, they lost Fake God, but they came what they wanted for, and that is the base of CLG Faith.
They couldn't make use of that Jinx passive. The thing you love to play for is that kill. They get excited. But Aaron, it's already expired, even though they're low health. Remember, Cloud9 incredibly strong.
And again, the target selection on a poor Aaron for a rampage out of Lost. Cloud9 make this look way too easy in the playoffs.
Right, and hey, we got 30 seconds on NXI, and Aaron with this mid inhibitor, they're just going to walk it down. They have a wave. And that's a 2-0 win. Cloud9, actually, they're low health. They're going to walk.
I was going to say, they're low health. They've got more that they can spend when it comes to gold as well. Might as well play this one cleanly, cautiously. No sense throwing caution to the wind. It is playoffs. You want to look your best.
And Cloud9 have been doing just that, showing us why they are that #1 seed here, Magical. And yeah, Dragon's up, but I like that instead Cloud9 are walking towards this top side, because realistically, that's all you have to play for. You can try clear out this jungle, threaten that top inhibitor, and if CLG come to answer, you wipe them and win the game.
CLG Faith cowering back towards their base, corralling themselves around the last bastion of hope. It's top lane inhibitor, but 2 lanes simultaneously from Cloud9, having minions escorted into the base. Soon to be 3. Just waiting it out for those last minions so they can topple the final structure as Sketch look for a play. Their last attempt, the last defense that they have against Cloud9 as the flash in for Fake God makes quick work of a double kill, making a triple kill for Lost, and that is the series. Cloud9, your #1 seed. This is what you expect of them in the playoffs, to be dominant, commanding, and fully in control.
And they were all of that and more, Magical, as they send CLG Faith to that lower bracket. Convincing showing through and through.
Yeah, they looked completely dominant, and this is, like you said, you want to see this. This is the play that you expect from your #1 seed, the team that has been on an absolute tear through the regular season, showing up in a big way in the first series of playoffs. We're going to toss into a break, and when we come back, Grace will be ready with an interview with Zazel, the support of Cloud9 Challengers, so make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody, to coverage of the LCS Challengers League playoffs. We're here in the Verizon post-game interview with a little chat with Zazel, the support for Cloud9 Challengers. Zazel, congratulations on the win over CLG Faith. Obviously, a very, very clean series from you guys in both of those games, although I did notice that out of the 2 kills that you did give up, both of them were on Fake God. Is there any banter in the comms where it's like only one player has died in a series like that?
Not really any banter. I mean, we talked about it after, and the second game there, I did like, when they made a pick on our Gnar, I was kind of like, huh, did Fake God really have to die there? I was like confused. I was like, huh, okay. So a little bit of banter. I asked him about it, but it was like jokingly, so
yeah,
not too worried.
There's never too much to critique when there's a game that ends like in a series that ends pretty quickly in that fashion. But going down to you specifically in the bottom lane, I think one of the last times that we got to talk to you, you had the opportunity to talk about how you thought that Lost and you were a really good bot lane and really aggressive bot lane as well in the NACL. Has there been any efforts to kind of refine that playstyle over the last couple of weeks?
I'd say efforts, yeah, of course. Like, in general, I'd say our practice is only geared towards, like, breaking the enemy bot more. That's like our team's goal. So Lawrence always has a goal. With him specifically, I noticed like his goal is always, how can I like push my lead to the absolute max? And it backfires sometimes, but it's like, that's, even in practice, that's what his mindset is. So I feel like in these games, he was honestly, like he was feeling like he really wanted to break their bot lane, but with how the game went, it was pretty easy for them to neutralize our bot lead in game 2. And in game 1, we did manage to break through bot, and I think that's something he really focuses on, and it makes it easy for me to just follow up on that, right?
Yeah, so instead of refining things, maybe stepping back, it's actually, pushing the limits even more in a way. Is what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, I would say that it's not our goal to like have deathless games that look clean. Like, we like to get, down in the mud, some mud wrestling,
Always a good time. But I mean, overall, do you think you and Lost are the best bot lane here in the NACL? Because it definitely seems like it over these past couple of weeks.
I think, yeah. I think it was maybe a little closer when Diamond and Tomo were down here, but he had to swap it up mid-split, so his, 8 weeks of practice with Tomo went down. But I would say it might have been closer before, but I'd say yes now for sure.
And we're going to look forward to continue to watch you guys dominate in many, many bot lanes. But before we wrap things up, I kind of want to talk about you as a player and kind of the journey that you've went through throughout these past couple of years, because not necessarily the most standard in terms of being here at the NACL right now. You were a coach last summer, positional coach with C9. Was there anything that you learned in that experience that you are applying now here at this level of play?
Honestly, I learned a lot just because Sven is pretty close to an opposite of me in terms of how he focuses resources. Like, his goal in game and in draft, I feel, is very focused and centered around winning lane, whereas like I as a player always was like, yeah, let's just get a good team comp and we'll team fight and we'll win. But he's very like, let's just fist these guys to the pavement through lane and see what happens. And then like it's kind of meta now, right? Like that was the goal for the past 3 patches before they nerfed some of these things and buffed the melee support item again. Like it literally became that meta. So I think I learned a lot through that, because before I hadn't even really thought of playing like that, and I think it was worse before, but Halo Blades plus these 80 carries coming support made it a reality.
So do you think that experience with Sven helped you, especially in this meta of 2023, and as well as playing with somebody like Lost who really likes to dominate the laning phase?
Yeah, it's definitely like, sometimes I have to like, I have to take back and I'm like, do we really have to play this aggressive? And it definitely helps that Lost Lawrence is really wanting to play that aggressive. So sometimes it's like, I have to convince myself like, this is just how we play now. We just, straight in, no matter what, fight as hard as we can. And if we die to the jungler, it's BG, go next, I guess. Not sure.
Those are the risks you're willing to take, obviously. And one, another question I had, just kind of about you as a player. It's been a while since we've seen you back in the LCS, of course, in 2020. But you have been kind of grinding things out, either as a player here in NACL, in the semi-pro scene, or as a coach as well. What is something that you think you've improved on as a support player? It could be either in-game or out of game since we've last seen you in 2020.
Since 2020, I would say my main shift has been definitely just focusing on, well, from a support perspective, ignoring lane. I would say tracking vision and especially counting wards. That's something I've focused on a lot recently, since that's just like fundamentals as a coach. I was focusing really heavily on that with Sven, so it's like, obviously I have to apply it to my own play now, because I just coached as a support and I was applying it heavily then. But then now 2v2, I focus really heavily on like, how can I make the lane as easy as possible for my AD carry? Whereas before, I think I really only thought like, how do I play this lane for my best position? But in reality, it's like, I'm a support man, the AD carry is going to carry. I just play for him and kill myself if it gets him a kill, or kill myself if it means he lives, like things like that. And I think I wasn't really focused on that enough before, even going back 2018, 2019, 2020.
I mean, we're seeing so many of those improvements right now, and it's been really, really incredible to watch. Thank you very much for the interview, Zazel. We look forward to your next matchup here in the upper bracket against the winner of TL Challengers and Wildcard. Do you have any last shoutouts before we send things over to a break?
Yeah, shout out to everyone except my coach.
Why not your coach?
He pressures people to shout him out, so he doesn't deserve a shout out. So let me name
totally valid. You're
Aaron, Tomio, Diplex, Lawrence, shout out to you guys, Thor, Johnny, David.
You can shout me out as well if you don't want to shout you. You can shout me out.
Yeah, shout out to all the casters here.
Yes.
My great interviewer.
And not the coach.
And my sponsors. There we go. Not the coach.
All right, thank you very much, Zazel. Congratulations on the win once again. We're going to be taking a short break before we head back into the NACL playoffs, but don't go anywhere. Golden Guardians Challengers versus Area of Effect Gold is next. You are not going to want to miss that. We'll see you in a few.